At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and an exciting new airport mall. Finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport. The experience will move you.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andre. Okie dokie, kids. What's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We begin with the news of GEBE. To get disconnected or not to be disconnected, that is the question. Now, of course, the Parliament of St. Martin decided to meet on the issue as a continuation of a previous meeting that was held with the old Parliament, and now it continues with the new Parliament. And this is hilarious because, of course, as always, what do they say? Money talks, bullshit walks, or put your money where your mouth is. Remember all those wonderful campaign promises by the different political parties on how they are going to solve the GEBE situation. Now, these meetings are very, very, very normal. The meeting is about GB, the outrage of the billing system. Everybody complains about it. GB says, well, we can't do nothing about it. We're working on it. It's almost there. We're looking into it. We have it. It's already done. It's already finished. Our billing system is 100%. If you have an issue with your bill, come on down to GB and let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Okay, 500. 500. You want 500? Or how much you want to pay? Oh, no, it's 600. No, it's 700. No, the fuel clause is $3,000. And then you're like, no. Okay, what about a payment plan? All right, 25%. And then you got 75% by the end of the month. There was an interesting synopsis that I decided to look at from a different perspective. The reason why I say that is because we have so much problem with the billing issue for GEBE. But here is the kicker. Get ready for it, eh? Do you remember that before the hack, GEBE billing system was almost about 2 months before? It was never up to date. So you ain't paying electricity from last month. You paying from 2 months, 3 months ago. Remember that? So how is it that we crash, the system get hacked, we lost all the data, we then put re-entry everything manually, our system is now 100% according to GB, and they're up to date all of a sudden? Make it make sense. Did the system improve? Or do we have the same billing system we had before the hack? And now you're making fictitious amounts just to make up for the 2 months because things rough. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, wait. They have 2 months. Their billing system is 2 months prior to. That was before we had the great hack, the ransomware hack, festival. And then afterwards, come in and settle. You gotta settle January, you gotta settle February, and we in March. You're like, wait, did something change? So it's a good observation to have. I think it's important that we look at it from a different point of view. But Parliament did what Parliament did. Yada, 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 yada. The Prime Minister, of course, is in charge of GEBE as the shareholder representative. And she gave a presentation to the members of Parliament stating that everything is fine, everything is cordial, they're getting better, they're working harder. And then, of course, members of Parliament came with absolutely no substance, but just a bunch of obvious complaints by different individuals. And then, yes, meeting adjourned. But hey, I'll make you be the judge of that. Let me go into the highlight of the Parliament meeting that took place on Thursday.
Good morning, all. I welcome you to this continuation of the public meeting number 3 for today, Thursday, March 7, 2024. I want to give a special welcome to Ms. Silvera Jacobs, the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs of the current caretaker cabinet of government, and her support staff.
Good morning, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin tuned in, as well as to those joining us here in the Tribune. I know this is a topic that has been very important to the people of St. Martin. It has impacted us all, and of course, these answers, as I mentioned before, were prepared late last year. If more updates are needed as to what the current situation is, of course, I expect that to come forward in the second round of questions. So take note that these were answers from the end of 2023. The question, as was posed by the first MP recorded, MP Westcott Williams, related to the 90% of the records of GB being restored, and if that is the case, are they completely up to date? Is it so that only 10% are not and still needs to be filled in? What category does the 10% fall? The records are based in the responses received from NVGB. The records are based on both technical and client data. These must be restored and integrated for completeness. The ransomware incident of March 22 resulted in data loss up to and including February 2021. GB did not have any other backups at the time, and the data that is being restored is from that point forward. New clients move in and move out after February 21st up until March 22, when this took place, are not properly registered in the system before the hack. And accounts not properly registered in the system before the hack are proving to be the most difficult to restore and reconcile. Let me go back over that because I myself didn't understand what I said. So I repeat that part.
Prime Minister, while you are going to go back over that, I just want to give the number of the IS that was provided to Parliament with the answers of the Minister. And that is IS 345 of the 25th of January 2024. For the members of Parliament, IS 345. Madam Prime Minister, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, as I said, the data that is being restored is from the point of February 2021 to March 2022 specifically, especially new clients move in and move out after February 2021, and accounts that were not properly registered in the system before the hack are proving to be the most difficult to restore and reconcile. The last 10% entails domestic as well as commercial clients. It consists of missing technical information, and GB is currently updating the system to be able to bill these customers. I heard recent updates on this answer that is more current, so I'm sure we'll be able to update that as we move on in the meeting. Question 2 was regarding persons with outstanding amounts, for whatever reason, being asked to pay 25%. Where is that plan now? Did GB ever have the opportunity? Did persons ever have the opportunity of their outstanding as announced by Minister VSI and GB? Does that plan still stand? A policy was put in place by the current management to allow persons who were delinquent in payment for the month GEB did not send invoices to receive a payment plan based on a 25% payment. Thereafter, the client makes 6 payments to clear the delinquency and stay up to date with billing. That policy will be reviewed, or I should say, was reviewed on a case-by-case basis, considering many clients who never made any payments and now are more than 18 months in delinquency. GB understands the hardships involved for some of these clients. However, the financial position of the company and the need to act consistently with all clients necessitates repayment, albeit via a payment plan. As such, the plan requiring 25% with 6 payments thereafter is still in force. And will continue to be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So that does not mean that persons who are not able to do the 6 months would not be able to make other arrangements. But the standard is this policy. So GB continue to review on a case-by-case basis. Persons wishing to make arrangements for their outstanding bills should go to GEBE's offices. With said payment arrangements, the client must also be able to pay the current bills to avoid increasing arrears. So again, all of that is on a case-by-case basis, and the management will update in the second round how that is going now, since these answers were provided. The third question was, where do we stand on the financial situation of the company and the senior plans, given the viability of the financial situation? The MP asked whether the senior plan was still possible and whether the relief that seniors enjoyed, giving senior relief amounts, it's a statement, I'm not sure. Oh, this was quoted in the past, of up to 500,000 guilders. Can it be still applied? GB's financial situation remains tenuous. In addition, the loss in revenue due to the hack and the length of the restoration process requires the company to operate on a bare bones budget into financial year 2024. Moreover, the company needs to make serious inroads in clearing the maintenance backlog of its production and distribution network. The financial demands on cash flow must therefore be considered. GB will reinstate this as soon as possible and have one-on-one discussions with shareholders to find a viable solution. I can update that that is one of the areas that was updated, and this plan now seems more feasible for implementation moving forward. That is an update to this answer. Does GB have an overview of current outstanding broken down commercial and residential clients? Yes, GB has an overview of current outstanding broken down clients. 44.84% are commercial and 42.62% are residential clients. Industrial clients make up 12.55%. Please take note that the numbers were rounded to the second decimal point, and this was the information provided last year. The MP also queried whether GB is able to pay for fuel to Sol and where we stood on that matter. GB's management prioritized this matter since taking office in September of 2022 and is currently no longer delinquent with Sol. 6, no numbers were provided on the financials. How does the company presently, financially speaking, how does the company look presently? Financially speaking, what about the payments to the employees, which was an ongoing discussion with NVGB? Where does that stand? The company is maintaining a net positive flow of cash, a cash flow position. Based on the restoration of the billing, collections are much improved from late 2022. The expenses are managed to account for the reduced income or revenue. GB's management has built limited cash reserves for operations and unforeseen situations, such as the unforeseen repairs to the machinery and other urgent issues. Management is working to erase the backlog in financial statements that were present at the company in September of 22. Specifically, GB completed its 2019 financial statements in early 2022. Management expects the auditors to complete the work on financial year 2020 and 2021 by the end of 2023. And I'm being updated that the draft was presented. Financial year 22 and 23 will be finalized during, it was stated back then, Q1 of 2024. There has been no interruption of payment of wages and salaries. What about the payment to the employees, COLA and merit increase? Agreements have been reached in principle with the unions for the merit increase of financial year 2022. This will be paid in 2 installments, one in January 2024 and one in January 2025. The one in January 2024 was paid out. The COLA calculation is being completed, and the SMCU has informed management that this increase should be paid in full in 2024. However, discussion on the cost of living adjustment is still ongoing. Referencing the CFO of the company and a court case that was won by the CFO, where does that stand? GB is not aware of any court case that a CFO won. And for clarity's sake, the CFO's last term ended in 2020. In 2017, the energy utility sector was added to BTP. Based on that addition, is there an understanding that BTP is supposed to, of what BTP is supposed to do towards GEBE? If not, why? And if there is an understanding, what has BTP done as far as the utility company is concerned? In 2017, BTP was commissioned by the then sitting ministers of Rami and Tiat to do a market research and update on the energy policy to make suggestions on how best to assign the regulatory work or tasks to BTP for the utility sector. A findings report was submitted to Minister Tiat along with an advice on how they saw this most feasible in the current market. That was in 2017. A constant change of ministers in Tiat has contributed to the delay in any response. The Council of Ministers instituted an energy work group in 2021 that has been tasked with energy-related matters, for instance, energy policy, transition to renewable energy, energy roadmaps, and the EU Kingdom funding for renewable energy-related projects. This amendment, in addition to updating the current energy policy, has also been highlighted as a priority for the Energy Work Group and the Ministries of Tiat, Vromi, and General Affairs. For BTP to become the regulatory body for the utility sector, an amendment needs to be made to the current legislation, the Landsverordening. This can only be done with some form of supporting documentation. This process has not been completed and is under review by the Ministry of Tiat in collaboration with BTP. Again, a high volume of rotating ministers in the function continues to be a critical component of this transition. A key development related to the process has been a recent visit of technical experts from TNO, the Dutch Organization for Applied Scientific Research, that focused on assessing the current state of affairs on the island as it relates to the Netherlands being able to subsidize existing projects or initiatives relating to the transition to renewable energy, such as solar, wind, via the SDE plus funds and other funds available via the Netherlands, as I've discussed here before. GB, in the meantime, with the assistance of funding from the World Bank through the NRPB, has also started their tender process to outsource a grid studies and integrated resource plan, IRP. The results of these studies will provide a necessary insight into the current state of GEBE's power generation and distribution networks, and that are required to advance on our renewable energy projects and general infrastructure upgrades required to support growth of new energy generation. BTP, in the meantime, remains in close contact with the Ministry of Tiat, the Minister of Tiat, regarding the necessary process to make the amendments to the legislation to appoint BTP as a regulator of the National Utility Company. Question 10 from MP Westcott Williams. Long-term solutions. Can the Prime Minister and GB be more specific, and what does that mean for the current outages and load shedding? How much longer will we experience these? What time frame? In what time frame can these solutions be implemented? As mentioned briefly before, GB is currently collaborating with the World Bank and NRPB to complete an investment plan. The scope for GEBE's investment plan will be executed in a two-phased approach. The first phase will focus on resolving the urgent needs and developing a least cost power development plan, LCPDP. The assignment will commenced in December 2023 and is expected to be concluded 3 months later. The LCPDP is for a 10-year horizon starting in 2024 and will provide recommendations for developing the optimal expansion plan for the generation and transmission system of GB, focusing on the island's supply options and ambition for renewable integration. The optimal expansion will minimize the expected net present value of investment, operating costs, and cost of non-supply demand over the period from a country's perspective, subject, of course, to risk-based constraints regarding minimum reliability and maximum operation costs. The company has engaged a consultant through the NRPB who will assist in conducting a crucial feasibility study. This study aims to identify the most suitable form of renewable energy based on existing infrastructure. It will also assess whether upgrades are necessary to integrate renewable energy sources, and the study also considers the company's current installed capacity, present peak demand of 56.4 megawatts, as well as the ongoing growth of the island impacting our reliability criteria. Consequently, the focus will be on expanding GEB's generating capacity, installed capacity to meet the rising demand. These efforts towards the progress, growth, and sustainability of NVGB aligns with the government's vision through its roadmap towards renewable energy. To support this vision, funding was made available through the Emergency Recovery Project 1, ERP1, of the St. Martin Trust Fund, and the short term, to address the current issue of load shedding, GB is in the process of reviewing the possibility of leasing additional mobile engine capacity to cover the shortfall in electricity supply. In addition to this, the COM-approved roadmap for the transition to renewable energy is being taken along by those doing the feasibility study. The GB business plan is currently being updated. MP Westcott asked further, and the Energy Work Group is updating the plan. There is an energy plan in which the role of GB is detailed. Is that energy plan being followed? What was done is being done. Who is the Energy Work Group, and what does that mean in terms of time, money, and what the people of St. Martin can look forward to and when? GB has been falling behind in executing its role regarding the energy policy. The current management has acknowledged this shortcoming and has made staff available to be part of the work group. The group comprises of individuals from the Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations, BAC, VROMI, TEAT, and NVGB. The MP looks forward to concrete information, the status of load shedding, the status of employees, and a financial bottom line. NVGB's latest audited statements are for the year 2019. To avoid any possible misinterpretations, misrepresentations, GB management prefers to wait until the year 2020 and 2021. Audited statements are available, and then these will be shared with Parliament. This will ensure that all the necessary information is accurate and up to date. To address the current issue of load shedding, GB is in the process of reviewing, I mentioned this before, the additional mobile engine capacity. MP Rumu asked if that consumers are still reporting receiving inaccurate bills. Are there any different steps being taken by NVGB to address these discrepancies and finally ensure that the billing is accurate? GB informs that it is monitoring its billing system to ensure that no accurate bills are sent out. However, they have identified that some accounts are still contain some inaccuracies dating back to their inception, so since the beginning, not just from the hack. Additionally, some customers who move frequently, 2 or 3 times per year, run the risk of not having their accounts closed off properly, resulting in continued billing based on their old meter. This is being addressed on a case-by-case basis. So I know that up to this week, I did hear of persons who had discrepancies in bills, and they are asked to just return to GB to have these reassessed and provide the information to have it fixed. Many consumers are still not receiving bills, was mentioned. Can NVGB explain the reason behind this 1.5 years later? What measures are being implemented to rectify this? The records are based on both technical and client data. These must be restored and integrated for completeness. I think the integration is the main challenge. The ransomware incident resulted in data loss up to and including, I think I mentioned this answer before, So therefore, several accounts were not properly registered in the system before the hack are proving to be difficult to reconcile. NVGB is still working on that last 10%, and while they had hoped to finish this by the end of last year, it still remains an ongoing work in progress. So it entails mostly technical information, and they are updating the system to bill the customers accurately. So any persons receiving bills that may be inaccurate, please report this to GB ASAP. The recent episodes of load shedding are greatly impacting both residents and businesses in St. Martin. What actions are NVGB taking in the short term and long term to prevent such incidents? There are ongoing talks with the engine manufacturer Wärtsilä about updating the power plant's capacity to meet the N2 criteria, a standard for system reliability. The N2 criteria is a standard in the energy sector, ensuring that a power system can handle the failure of two major components, like generators or transmission lines, without the system breaking down. GB has 10 generators and 50 lines. Our system should still work even if 2 generators and 2 lines go down simultaneously. This ensures that GB can provide continuous power, preventing the widespread blackouts even if multiple parts fail. Maintaining this standard is about being prepared and ensuring a stable power supply no matter what challenges may arise. NVGB is working on comprehensive internal plans for immediate as well as future actions. GB is currently working on a short-term solution to avoid interruptions in power supply. Implementing these will give the company some breathing room while work is completed on the long-term strategies. These strategies will be integrated into the company's broader plans, especially given the fast-paced changes in the energy world. Question 4 from MP Ramu. Given the outcry of the citizens, how is NVGB enhancing its customer service, especially in light of many complaints about the discrepancies and outages? NVGB is gearing to launch a new communication campaign that will address its customers' concern by connecting with the communities. The company is currently in the final stages of negotiating with customer care experts to enhance its customer experience. What plans does NVGB have in place to ensure consistent electricity access to all of St. Martin, including the more remote areas, seeing that certain areas are always left without electricity or the first to lose electricity during outages? This was question 5 from MP Ramu. Consistent electricity supply to all of St. Martin is crucial. The N2 criteria concept ensures redundant power generation to meet demand even when the two generators are not operational. However, it is concerning that NVGB lacks this redundancy, resulting in N-2 is what I should be saying, N-2, which is the description of 2 engines or lines being down. However, it is concerning that NVGB currently lacks this redundancy, resulting in frequent load shedding and power outages, especially in areas with high load demand. Currently, NVGB does not have any redundancy or spinning reserve when a large generator trips, leading to load shedding. To avoid a complete blackout, an under-frequency protection system is in place. And these are very technical statements, which I don't know if the general public will understand, but in any case, these are the answers that were provided by NVGB. The under-frequency protection system is a crucial safety measure that prevents widespread blackouts by systematically switching out parts of the power grid when there is a deficiency in power generation. The outlined steps from step 1 to step 4 demonstrate a gradual escalation of response to dropping power frequencies, with specific areas being affected more or less depending on the severity of the frequency drop. To address the current challenges, NVGB needs to invest in new generators as soon as possible to support the N-2 concept and ensure a consistent supply of electricity to the entire island. There's a breakdown in the steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 that the system goes through, Madam Chair. Whether it's for 3 seconds, it's very, very technical, so What I can say is that currently step 1 is being skipped because of smaller generators, so skipping when there's a slight drop, which can affect the areas of Airport Road, Madam Estate, and Illidge Road. Step 2 is characterized by areas with high load and demand, which is the Belvedere, Colby Lagoon, Saunders area, which is activated when there's a drop in frequency for 0.1 seconds. Step 2, because of the N-2 concept is not yet a reality, this step is disrupted more frequently. When it comes to deciding which areas to turn off outside of the steps in the under frequency protection system, various factors are taken into consideration. So, for instance, I mentioned step 1 and step 2, which areas. Step 3 would impact after 5 seconds St. Peter's, Oyster Pond 1, Indigo Estates at K Bay, Port of Pleasant, Simpson Bay, Red Pond 1, Lions Den, Towers, and Over the Bank. And if it gets to step 4, that it's 8 seconds, the rest of the cables on the frequency protection system are then impacted. So various factors are taken into consideration, which include but are not limited to the potential output of private backup generators, the presence of schools in the affected areas, and the main water distribution pumps and other relevant factors. So those things are weighed when deciding which areas would be turned off. What is GB doing about low water pressure to 40, 50 homes in the hills? The exact location of the low pressure is not specified. If someone experiences low pressure, they should inform customer care department so that the distribution operations team can investigate and rectify the issue. GB ensures a minimum pressure of 2 bars at the distribution point, which is at the water meter. Due to the extensive construction on the island, GB has noticed an increase in consumption. Additionally, those who live in the hills and consume more water may experience a decrease in pressure. There are several technical reasons why low pressure can occur. However, if the specific location is identified, the reason for that specific one can be determined by NVGB, and a more accurate explanation can then be provided. MP Remove further asks which strategies is NVGB utilizing to ensure the infrastructure is adequately equipped to handle the increasing energy demands, seeing the island's growth. It is important to note that NVGB is not consulted regarding large infrastructure projects ahead of time. They usually learn about these projects primarily through the local newspapers and media websites, especially during groundbreaking events for large-scale projects. The company is notified when the project developer requests the construction meter and presents the infrastructure requirements based on the anticipated load demand. The current management of GB is in the process of developing a long-term strategy. As part of this process, they have requested the Ministry of Roaming to provide them with the projected inventory for the next 24 months. This information will help NVGB to make more accurate projections of its capacity needs. I thought a break was being requested. Question 8. How is NVGB working to improve its communication strategies, especially during unplanned outages and/or emergencies? NVGB has remained steadfast in the company's unwavering commitment to serve the community with quality and reliable water and electricity services, and through interactive communication efforts. Though in some cases, I must say we have been quite concerned about communication and asked for an increase in communication to the public in the unforeseen event of service disruptions and/or outages. NVGB's team goes above and beyond their regular work schedules and resolve any respective challenges, and also provide ongoing community updates via social media, newspaper notices, WhatsApp platforms to all media outlets, including radio stations, newspapers, and TV 15. And I must say, yes, I've seen it also on their Facebook page, social media. Considering these many challenges, there are major overhauls or strategic shifts being discussed to enhance service delivery? This was the question. GB is currently collaborating with World Bank and NRPB to complete an investment plan. The scope for the investment plan will be executed in 2 phases, as I mentioned a bit earlier, and has a 10-year projection, looking at it from 2024 to 2034. The optimal expansion will minimize the expected net present value of investment operating costs and costs of non-supply demand over the period from a country's perspective, subject to risk-based constraints regarding minimum reliability and maximum operation costs. They have engaged a consultant, as I mentioned before, through the NRPB, who is assisting with the crucial feasibility study. Madam Chair, with your permission, I won't repeat answers, especially since several members did ask the same questions, and they are printed and projected as well. So I wouldn't want to bore the listening public. Renewable energy sources is a growing global priority, and in presentation, the MP requested, you indicated that GB is considering renewable energy, what alternative models or energy sources are being considered, and is there a timeline for implementation? As part of the ongoing efforts to modernize NVGB's infrastructure and ensure consistent and reliable power delivery to residents and visitors, along with the NRPB, GB will jointly undertake the development of a comprehensive investment plan. The timeline for this was not mentioned. This is asked by several MPs, and so I will see whether within the round 2 we can give a more accurate outline of the timeline in terms of the implementation. One of the questions did mention that the first quarter would, the feasibility study would be finalized in the first quarter of this year. So the management informs that the feasibility study officially started yesterday. So once we have that study, then we'll be able to put forward the dates, etc.
Okay, so what have we learned? Absolutely nothing. The bill is still due. They're not going to erase anything. They lied to you during the campaign season where they said they're going to fix the GEB problem. No, it's just going to be a different hat, and they're just going to blame National Alliance and UP for screwing up GB, even though there's not the one that hacked the company. They're just going to be like, yeah, you have to pay the bill because, you know, National Alliance and UP, they could have fixed it, but it's too late to fix it, so you have to pay your bill. But blame National and UP. Don't blame me, who's here currently in government as the people's choice. That's what you call yourself, right? The people's choice, the 2x4 is the people's choice. Yeah.
Hi guys, it's Jimmy Sachs. It's always an honor to be with St. Martin. My first 2 performances at Roxy Beach were epic. We recorded the hit single Smile. Second time we did Time. My third and final performance will be on March 23. St. Martin, I promise you, you don't want to miss this one. See you on March 23 at Roxy Beach. All the best, Jimmy Sachs.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
Hi, darling. I'm fine. Just calling to say hi.
Oh, okay. We got over here.
Girl, I here watching this movie and it.
But, Mom, you finished all your minutes yet?
No, girl. Talem has new postpaid plans and automatically upgraded my postpaid package.
Is that so?
Guess what? I am getting more minutes and almost double the amount of data for the same price.
I guess I'm making a switch now.
Let me call you back, Mom.
Hey, Tash, you hear about Telem new postpaid plans?
All right. There is some breaking news. I just saw that Mr. Brown posted this on social media, and normally I do not share Mr. Brown stuff anymore, but I thought this was important. Let's get to it.
Yeah, we are here outside of the Central Police Station, and I see a group of white people. I don't know. I'm trying to find out what is happening here. What? Morning.
You have a thing?
What is happening here? I mean, I see a lot of people. Is this what it is?
We're just playing a game.
Playing a game?
Yeah.
But why? But why you choose in front of the Central Police Station here in St. Martin to play a game?
Yeah.
Nah, that's not. What are they doing?
They're
Playing a game?
learning about St. Martin
What about
in a playful way.
what about St. Martin? What
St.
did
Martin is the best island of the Caribbean.
no? But we no.
We love St. Martin.
We don't. I don't want you to discriminate. I mean, there are other islands that are beautiful, but what they want to know about St. Martin? What they want to know about St.
They
Martin?
want to know the islands around. They want to know the history.
And why?
They
What?
want to know the salt.
Why not somewhere
Because
else?
they want to come back.
You sure?
I'm sure.
And who are you again? You're from the tour guide transport in Simpson Bay.
Yes, man.
So tell the people how long you was doing this.
Oh, this tour is about 5 years. Yeah, and it's so many people. It's modeled after the Amazing Race TV program of America, so they all love to do this. And at the end of the day, they learn a lot because they need a quiz.
So how it benefiting you?
How it's benefiting me?
Yeah, how it
Because they buy this tour on the cruise ship. This is exclusive for Royal Caribbean.
Great job. Habla español, aquí St. Martin, todo mundo español. Habla un poquito para
Aquí
español.
hablamos muchas lenguas. Una de las lenguas que hablamos más es el español,
Yeah.
pero la que más hablamos es el inglés.
Okay.
Tú y yo hablamos en inglés,
Sí.
pero hablo con muchos en español y también en francés. Lamentablemente no hablo holandés.
Gracias. All right. So this is what we've been looking at here. And then I saw a beautiful young lady here. Hi, how are you doing? You looking well, you're looking well. Nice. And we gone.
The man say white people, no. The man just walk up to the people and he say white people. I do not miss the old Mr. Brown segment. I swear to God. All right. Time for your flashback. I have a good one for you today.
Flashback.
Anyway, so there was this Pastor Bell that went, I don't know if it's too far, but he went in on the LGBT community. And for those who don't know what that is, it's not a drink. It's the gay community. So most of the time, people are a bit kind of like iffy when it comes to the gay community, because when we do talk about it, you either, it's almost as if you have to be on somebody's side. You're either for the gays or you're against the gays. You can't be like okay with the gays existing. Like you can't just be like it doesn't matter to you. It's just like you always have to have like a side. Now the pastor in his speech, I'm so scared to repeat it. I'm not even going to repeat it, but I'm going to just play it because let's, I guess, have the conversation. But he was was, I was speechless when I saw it. I could not believe it. Anyway, take a look.
Now, please don't turn me off, don't turn me out, because one of the things that I'm fighting for today is that we need to trust the Word of God. And the world has lost trust in God's Word. The world, even churches, have become a place where we are acceptance to many of these things. All denominations, even evangelicals. Now show the other one there, please. This is not Europe. This is St. Martin. Are you seeing what I see? Now, St. Martin is very quiet about many things, but no one is going to tell this church that we have not dealt with the issues. Did you see the picture? Right in the front, we have a lady with a suit and tie. Do you see it, right? All right, this is our parliamentarians. This is the new party that got into government with 2 seats that was voted in just our past elections. We have a situation here where 2 leaders of our government are literally part of I would call them the LGBT group. Now, I know it's touching, and I know it's sometimes for many leaders, it's like, don't go there and don't touch it. But I promise you here that somehow I have to keep it in front of you so that you know what we're dealing with. All right? All right, and one other thing that you need to know is that somewhere along the way, we will all be called to be praying for our government, that God somehow can use them and work through them. But do you know that this is wrong in the eyes of God? Who knows the effect that this is going to have upon not the big nations, but a small community of people? It's 16 square miles. We say 100,000 people, might be less, that live on the Dutch side alone, probably less, that is going to be affected by decisions that will be made by these folks. And whether we believe that they can be that way and not be tainted by the decisions, that's not true. Their way of life affects their decision making. Who's hearing what I'm saying? Please, I am a pastor. Do you know that my heart is broken over the last week when I'm realizing how many evangelicals worldwide are acceptance of this lifestyle? If we have to do a search and find out how many of these folks not only are in government, but actually are spiritual leaders in churches. Who's hearing me? I'm not talking, I want you to hear me. The change is rapid and strong. Now, in our island, we never thought such a thing would be. And so, and our prime minister is one, and one of our parliamentarians is one.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
And so, and our prime minister is one, and one of our parliamentarians is one. We had a Christian party here that had a seat last year that did not get a seat this year. And this is what we have. Now, what does that mean for us as Christians? First of all, I want to say this to all of us. Somewhere in our family, a family member is affected with this. Want to hear me? Don't exclude yourself from thinking that this cannot affect you. It's a new world. The spirit of perversion, the spirit of Antichrist, spirit of lawlessness is moving like we've never seen it move before. With a plan, with an agenda, and moving skillfully in this world. It's extremely well set up. Lawyers, judges, right? People of prominence are in positions, right? That when you fight against this, you better have the money, right, to be able to stay in the fight. Now, as Christians, I don't think we need the money to stay in the fight. And I need you to hear me carefully. That's one of the trick of the enemy. The trick wants the church to know that we're going to defeat this. No, Jesus will defeat this. I want you to hear me carefully. There are some of these folks that don't know what gender they are, that don't know that they're male or female, that have been lied to about this lifestyle, that God's going to save them. Who understand what I'm saying? That a day is coming, He will save some of them. because we don't look at them and believe that God can save them. Some of them will get saved. Some of us who are not gay or lesbian, we come to church and we have a problem because we are not living holy lives. But we look at them and we only want to see where they're at and don't realize they're going to have struggles. But many of us have struggles too. Many of us have struggles just being, normal, as we will call it, in our sexuality with male and female. And some of us are not keeping ourselves, but in the house of the Lord too. Lord help me this morning. Is this a good word I'm saying? Of course. We have our struggles. So what does that mean? That means that we got to repent and turn from it. Listen, there's different degrees of sin. Some people don't know we have to fight this that is before us. We have to. But we've been fighting all the other stuff all the time. Caribbean has I'm saying the Caribbean, I'm saying St. Martin, but across the world, there's a new way of living, loose living, and God have to accept it. That's not true. Fornication, adultery, God will judge. Every other sexual act outside of marriage, God will judge. Who knows that it's in the scripture? And that's the same verse you find in Hebrews where the scripture says that you got to know God for who he is. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you, that you can say boldly that the Lord is my helper. What was he talking about? He was actually talking about us who are, if we are married, that God can help and keep us by his Holy Spirit to live clean lives. He was also talking about that if you are not married, if you're a single person and you're living for the Lord Jesus Christ and you want to serve him holy, that God said, I'm your helper.
What I don't get is that you have pastors, particularly those in churches, the church leaders that tend to always take scriptures and use it in their context. So they would skip a couple of guidelines, a couple of lines, and go to a line that would fit a situation that you might face or that they would want you to know about. In this case, I think the pastor, Pastor Bell, is a little bit, okay, I wouldn't say a little bit, I would say out of his mind. Why he's out of his mind is because how dare you stand on a pulpit and preach against anyone? How dare you? Now, I am not a proponent of the wonderful people in politics because sometimes they could be real like real like the worst. However, don't you dare think that you could just come in my territory and criticize my members of parliament or my members of government. How dare you, sir? Anyway, we have our spiritual advisor, Pastor Wycliffe Smith, who's going to come and explain us this situation. Pastor Smith, are you there?
Jesus. Andrew, I want my money. It's end of the month.
It's in bank. It's going to be transferred. It's going to be transferred, Wycliffe. Take it easy.
I want my money, bitch. I want my money, bitch. I want my money. Yes, hello, Andrew.
Nice mouth for a pastor. Okay, Pastor Smith, the situation with the Pastor Bell. Can you tell us what you think of the situation? And at least late night does has a position, and I did give him some notes. I gave the Pastor Smith some notes on behalf of late night. So can you go ahead and read it for me, Pastor Smith? Go ahead.
I am not reading anything because I need to fix my glasses, and you have not paid. Therefore, I am not reading anything.
Thank you, Pastor Smith. And also,
there's a special place in hell for those who.
All right, thank you, Pastor Smith. All right, thank you. I just don't understand why we even pay him. Also, it's very important, these churches that are against the LGBT community,
they don't have no balls. Did somebody say balls? No, this is a wrong thing for you to talk about, Stuart. Hey, stop it. Hi, Andrew. Andrew, Pastor Bell Stuart is a bad man. He is a bad man, and I think we need a prayer meeting with him, Andrew. Can I invite him for my prayer meeting? Hey! Okay, thank you. Our fashion expert, Stuart Johnson. All right. No, but with all honesty, guys, I think that when it comes to church and state, they have to be separated for a reason.
That is it for the late night show. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant one. Bye-bye.